Good evening, everyone. This is Joe Hinches with Beyond the Chart, and this is stock market analysis for today. Today is Monday, July 14th, 2014, and we're going to take a look at the Dow and the indices that we typically look at, a couple of the indicators, and then we're going to do a little bit of an update on our trade ideas, see how they did today. We've got a couple of new ones I want to take a look at, and we'll go from there. Okay, the Dow was up 111.59 points. I've taken the ending diagonal off of this thing just because, number one, this would have been the first overlap, throw over of a line in here. Let me put that top line back in just so you know what I'm talking about. We had it like this. This was the top, and we just, this was the bottom of the ending diagonal. So this throw over, the more I looked at it, having three throw overs, having it just hang up like that, it just didn't look right to me. It's just like something else is going on. And honestly, I'm not sure what it is, except for the fact that these things are overlapping. We could have some kind of triangular movement happening. It could, now that I look at it, it could be some kind of broadening type of triangle happening in here when you take along the bottom like that. And so it's a little bit hard. This is definitely that choppy type action that we've been having going on, and we continue to press forward. When you look at the S&P 500, it looks a little bit more like wave structure in here of 5 waves, and you come back and I've got 5 waves counting coming off of a low back here in June as the 4th intermediate wave. And so these are all minor waves, what we call minor waves, although this whole wave is extending. It's much longer than the other intermediate 1 or intermediate 3. So we'll have to see if this is what really plays out. This is the best picture I can, draw up at this time. We still have divergences going on, okay? So those haven't gone away, and they're going to resolve themselves one way or the other here pretty soon. The New York Composite, similar type action. We continue to have the 10 above the 21. I mean, it's hung up in here since April and stayed like that. And we're, we really haven't gotten a breakdown. And the market's going to break down when it's ready to. And it sure hasn't been ready to. It hasn't acted like it's ready to break down anyway. Now here on the NASDAQ, I don't have the Russell 2000 tonight for whatever reason. I'm not sure why I'm not getting that data. The NASDAQ, this looks a little suspicious to me, this doji type bar today. So it's not a strong, impulsive, a bullish bar like in here. So I'm just wondering, we're going to have to watch to see what kind of follow through do we get tomorrow, or was this just a one-time shot up and we're going to reverse. The short-term trading index is again hanging in neutral in here. And it just has refused to go below the red line. Is no extreme, hasn't been to a bullish extreme since the end of December, which is kind of interesting. That also makes me think about the other thing I wanted to mention in here on the Dow. When you look at the ADX, okay, so this light green line is the average directional movement, ADX. Then you got DI plus and DI minus. Well, the ADX is also another one of those little checkpoints you can take a look at to indicate if there's a trend going on. Well, we've got no trend. This is way low. It's below 20. The reading's actually at 13. That is not indicating any kind of trend occurring. Now, sometimes this is lagging, but that's okay. It's not even rising. It's just it's flat. So again, the indication of this sideways type chop that seems to be going on. The VIX, VIX has pulled back. We've got the 10 above the 21 in here. VIX has pulled back some. Still got this bullish divergence, bullish for the VIX, be negative for the market. And that's really it. We've had 1 day of trading since Saturday. So that's the snapshot on the market. We got a lot of activity going on this week. We got a lot of economic activity. We got testimony from I think the Federal Reserve, I think it's Yellen that's testifying from the Senate and the House committees. And I know the Beige Book's out on, I think, Wednesday. So a lot of things happening, plus earnings from all the various stocks. So the volatility may start to pick up a little bit. Let's take a look at Facebook. We got stopped out of today. Okay, we had an entry late in the day here on the 7th, and for the first 5 days, I had an initial stop of 2 ATR with 2 average true ranges. Okay, the average true range on Facebook was 1.47 in here, and so my stop was set at 68.09, and we hit that today. Didn't go strongly past it, 68.17 high. Closed at 67.90, but we did hit 68.09, so we're out. That's one thing I've learned over time is like if you set a stop, honor it, and you can always get into the case where you're wishing and hoping it's going to go the other way, or well, let me give it one more day, it might pull back, and I wish I could remember the name. If you read the book Market Wizards, which is one of the highly recommended books to read, and I'm talking about the original Market Wizards, I remember this one story about one of the guys, and I think he was a big commodity trader, and he talked about how he got whipped one time, and it stopped him out, took him right out of the trade, then reversed and went completely the other way. And I remember in the interview, they asked me, said, well, aren't you frustrated about that? I mean, would you do that the same way again if it happened that way? And he said, absolutely. Because if you don't have a system, if you don't have something that you are a guideline for rules of the trade and the trade plan that you honor every time, well, then what are you doing? Okay, because then you're just going to get confused, and you're not going to have anything to really help you as you're trading. So I always remember that conversation, and go back and check that out and read it. I don't have the book in front of me, or I'd pull up and tell you who that was. But anyway, so when you have a stop, just honor the stop. A lot of times it's it's going to help you minimize the loss on it, and again it frees you up, clears up your mind, and you get the ability to rethink and relook at something and say, okay, do I really want to get back in on this right now on Facebook? I'm not, because it's not totally clear as to what's going on. All right, the next thing we're going to take a look at is we've got a couple others we got hanging out here, which Green Mountain, we're looking for an entry. It's down below 120 and hasn't hit it for the last 4 days. If I get a close above the 10 of the blue line here, I will take the trade idea off. Right now, it's still working. I still think this has got a chance of breaking down because of just the way this whole I still think that we're in a corrective A, B, and a C to come down. And this is like a little bit of an ending wedge in here for B. That's why I think I'm looking for the breakdown, but it needs to, again, prove it to me that it wants to come down. I'm not going to just go in and buy puts because that's what I want to have happen. It needs to tell me it's breaking down. The next thing is QIHU 360. QIHU 360 is another one that we were looking for an entry buy puts on the break of the low here today. We're getting this crossover, the 10 crossing below the 21. It's not super strong. The 21's kind of sideways, but I'm still going to play it, only we're going to move up our entry to be below today's low. So we'll see if that starts to break down. Again, when you look at QIHU, it broke this trend line. There is the possibility it could be chopping sideways. When you break trend lines, a lot of times, sometimes they will go sideways. Sometimes you break a trend line like up in here and it just pulls back sharply. So we'll see. That's the play on it though that I'm looking for. And the next one, so that's Facebook, Green Mountain, QIHU. Let's take a look at CTXS and TWTR. CTXS Systems, I know we looked at, thought we had a big head and shoulders movement, thought we broke out of this neckline, thought in here that this was a possible pennant, but we've gotten this moving average cross that is giving me a little bit of heartburn. And so right now I'm going to play an entry below the low of today to look to see if we can get into puts and see if this thing's going to pull back down. You know, when you get the cross, a lot of times, sometimes you get whipped by that because there's a little bit of delay. But you can see that when it does cross, I mean, you get several weeks of movement usually. Okay, look at it crossed in here, and you got several weeks, couple months where the movements to the upside. Now here, the moves to the downside are a little bit sharper, but that's okay. I mean, I'll take a nice, quick, sharp move to the downside, and then it turns back around because I'm not going to get greedy. But anyway, that's the play that we're looking for right now. And then Twitter is another one that's very similar type thing. And we had a little bit of divergence that was occurring in here, right in here, where the indicators did not go to new highs with this last little thrust up in here. Then it started to roll over. Now we've gotten the cross of the 10 below the 21. And again, I use a 10 EMA exponential, and then I've got a 21 simple, and everything else is simple. 55 is simple. The 233, which you're not seeing on here because this hasn't been trading that long. So anyway, we've got this cross. We're looking for an entry below today's low, and we'll see if it then comes down and breaks this trend line and comes back down to retest these lows back down here around 30. So that could easily happen. So that's the play on Twitter. That's it for tonight. Everyone have a great Tuesday, and if you found that this video helped you in any way, please hit one of the social media buttons there and share it with the world. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It gives you access to the Trade Ideas page, and you get email notification of when I have the posts put out on the website, and just you're now considered a member of the tribe following Beyond the Chart. So anyway, hope that was helpful. Have a great Tuesday, Wednesday, everyone. We'll talk to you again Wednesday night. This has been Joe for Beyond the Chart.